number 10 in Britain, newspapers were published. Since then, the fight for privacy has grown more intense, most recently and perhaps most significantly during Queen Elizabeth's record-breaking reign on the throne of Great Britain. There has been no shortage of friction between the royals and the tabloids' relentless pursuit of the next scoop by any means necessary. From the tabloids pouncing on Prince Charles's underage drinking, to Elizabeth suing The Sun for publishing a stolen photograph of Sarah, Duchess of York, and her daughter Princess Beatrice, meant to be used on their 1988 Christmas card. The royals reached a turning point in their lives in the 1990s when a string of unfortunate events, including affairs, explosive divorces, and tell-all interviews, sent the tabloids into overdrive. The royal family's numerous scandals that became a public spectacle in that decade were exacerbated by nefarious activity. Think Camillagate, and the ruthless campaigns of the paparazzi. Think Fergie's toe-sucking topless photos. Number 9, 1989, Princess Anne's love letters are stolen. After marrying Sir Timothy Lawrence in a private ceremony in Scotland in 1992, Anne is happy for the first time in a very long time. However, scandal erupted just 3 years earlier when love letters from Lawrence addressed to Anne were stolen from her personal briefcase and anonymously leaked to The Sun while Anne was still married to Captain Mark Phillips, the father of their 2 children. During Lawrence's time as the Queen's equerry, Anne had been having an affair with him. During Anne's unhappy, nearly 2-decade marriage, they frequently met in London or the countryside. Because of the letters' steamy nature, editors at the British tabloid decided not to publish them for fear of being sued. The Sun even gave the letters to Scotland Yard because the editors thought they were too hot to handle. Since the only plausible explanation appeared to be that the perpetrators had to have worked at the palace in order to have access to Anne's personal briefcase, Scotland Yard gathered more than 500 sets of fingerprints and interviewed nearly every person who worked there. This case proved to be one of the rare occasions when the tabloids erred on the side of caution while maintaining a sliver of decorum. To this day, the identity of the thief or thieves has never been revealed. However, it would not last. 8. 1992, Princess Diana's phone call, aka Squidgygate or Dianagate, leaks. The Princess of Wales was on the other end of the phone call in 1989 while she was at Sandringham with the royal family on New Year's Eve. James Gilby, a well-known individual who works as a marketing manager for the motorsports team Lotus, was on the other end of the line. He also owned a fortune for Gilby's gin. The Sun released a 23-minute tape during which they can be heard giggling and kissing. The call lasted about 30 minutes. Diana, who was still very much married to Charles at the time but was living a separate life away from him, makes a naughty suggestion for when the clock strikes midnight. They're also fantasizing about spending time together. A 70-year-old retired bank manager and amateur radio operator claimed that he intercepted the phone call and hit record on his home setup, which led to the recording of the call and its subsequent leak to the tabloids. The man by the name of Cyril Renan sold the tape to The Sun for approximately $10,000 8 days after the notorious phone call on New Year's Eve. One report claims that the royal correspondent for the publication stated, "The content was so explosive, we knew we had a major story." According to reports, Gilby went completely white, got in his car, and drove off when the royal correspondent confronted him about the tape's contents. It was reported when the phone call's contents, transcript, and actual recording were made public that Diana was staying at Balmoral and was shattered, but more embarrassed than anything else. In addition, it has been reported that Diana herself paid the per-minute fee to listen in after the tabloids set up a phone number where readers could call in and listen to the phone call that was leaked. The palace was shaken to its core by the phone call leak, to the point where the Queen ordered an investigation. Ken Wharf, Diana's former longtime bodyguard and confidant, claimed that she told him that on a number of occasions, she felt she and other members of the family were being monitored during the years-long investigation into the leak. He also claimed that the British Secret Service had recorded Dianagate and broadcast it repeatedly in the hope that an amateur radio operator would hear it. Diana had even reported to her friend Liz Tilberis, editor at Harper's Bazaar, that she had heard strange clicks and noises while making phone calls. When it was revealed that the amateur radio operator had used primitive equipment to intercept the phone call, Diana's concerns increased. According to Warp, Diana had clearly believed that her phone calls were being tapped in the months leading up to her passing away. On to number 7, 1993, Camillagate or Tampongate phone call leaks. Camillagate is a completely different story, and there are no indications that Dianagate will be covered in any season of The Crown so far. The whole saga is expertly covered here, but the main point is that the phone conversation between Charles and Camilla was also leaked to the tabloids, and this part of the conversation quickly became known as Tampongate. Charles's conversation, like Diana's, was recorded in 1989, but it wasn't released to the public until 1993. The Mirror claims that people published the call's transcript in January of that year, just 1 month after Charles and Princess Diana announced their separation in December 1992. In August of 1996, they got divorced. The tape sent shockwaves through royal spheres as both were married at the time of the conversation. Even though the three of them remained friends, it also led to Camilla's divorce from Andrew because it rendered his position as the Duchess of Cornwall's husband untenable. Number 6, 1992, Fergie's toe-sucking photo scandal. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson got married in 1986, but they broke up in March 92. 5 months later, her financial advisor, Texas millionaire John Bryan, was caught on camera kissing and sucking Fergie's toes while they were on vacation in Saint-Tropez. This caused a scandal. The headline for the photos, "Fergie's Stolen Kisses," appeared in a Daily Mirror. They were taken with a telephoto lens as they relaxed by the pool. The truth of the Texas millionaire and the Duchess. One of the most contentious images featured Princess Eugenie, who was just 2 years old at the time, watching as Brian kissed Fergie on the lips. It is said that Fergie had been invited to go on vacation with the family to Balmoral. The family saw the Daily Mirror cover while they were at their 50,000-acre estate in Aberdeenshire. The night before the photos were published in the Daily Mirror, royal writer Richard Kay claimed in the Daily Mail that Princess Diana sent him a message that read, "The redhead is in trouble." According to reports, Fergie was asked to leave Balmoral, so she drove her 2 children and nanny the 50 miles to the airport. Fergie had to wait outside her home's gates when she got to London because no one was there to receive her. She sat and waited in the car while photographers snapped away. In the end, Fergie and Andrew split up in May 1996. On to number 5, 1993, Queen Elizabeth sues the Sun. The monarch was about to file her second lawsuit against the British tabloid at this point. The BBC reports that Elizabeth filed her first lawsuit in 1988 over the publication of a stolen picture of Fergie and Beatrice that was supposed to be used on their Christmas card that year. In the end, the parties came to an agreement outside of court. After The Sun published a leaked text of Her Majesty's Christmas broadcast 5 years later, in 1993 the Queen filed a second lawsuit for copyright infringement. In the end, the parties reached a settlement for about $231,000, which was given to charity. Number 4, 1993, Princess Diana's gym photos. After photos of her working out at a gym were published by the Daily Mirror, the Princess of Wales filed a lawsuit against the publication. The photos were taken with a hidden camera, putting the royals' privacy expectations once more front and center. In the end, the newspaper had to apologize and pay around $1.1 million for Diana's legal fees. Additionally, the newspaper gave roughly $230,000 to charity. According to the reports, the proprietor of the gym where the appalling incident occurred refused to settle with Diana. The gym owner, on the other hand, is said to have wanted to take the matter to court. But the gym owner changed his mind and apologized for his part in the scandal less than a week before the case was to start. In the end, he spent the roughly $346,000 he earned from selling the photos. Number 3, 1999, Sophie Rhys-Jones' topless photo. The cover of The Sun featured a topless photo of Sophie in 1988, just a few months before she was to wed Prince Edward, Earl of Wessex, the youngest son of Elizabeth and Philip. She and DJ Chris Tarrant were in Spain when the picture was taken. Sophie and Tarrant can be seen laughing while seated in the back of a car in the image. Tarrant is then seen raising her bikini top while leaning against him. palace described the act as premeditated cruelty and described the publication of the photo as a gross invasion of privacy. The Sun's editor offered to never publish another photo of Reese Jones and expressed regret for publishing the image. He said in a statement, "We clearly offended Miss Sophie. As a result, I have chosen to apologize to her and the palace." Number 2, 2006, tabloids caught hacking. The story about Prince William's knee injury that was published in the now defunct News of the World in November 2005 marked the beginning of everything. Even though the story was minor in comparison to previous royal scandals, curious minds at the palace wanted to know how the newspaper got the specifics, like that William pulled a tendon. A week later, a story about William borrowing broadcast equipment from ITN editor Tom Bradby was published in News of the World, a tabloid that ceased publication on July 10, 2011 after nearly 2 centuries. This raised suspicions even further. The shocking part, though, was that Bradby later told the Daily Mail that the News of the World article had been written before William and Bradby had met in person to discuss it. This meant that they had only talked about it over the phone when the story had been written. William's phone and voicemail may have been hacked. Royal officials reported to the police. This set off a series of events that would result in the demise of the News of the World in 1843 publication. The veteran royal correspondent Clive Goodman and private investigator Glenn Mulcair, the News of the World's top investigator, stood in a London courtroom on January 26, 2007 and apologized for the gross invasion of privacy, according to the New York Times Magazine. News of the World fired them after they received sentences of 4 months and 6 months in prison respectively. In the end, a thorough investigation into News of the World revealed that the publication had also hacked into the phones of lawmakers, murder victims, celebrities, and members of the royal family. The newspaper's owner, Rupert Murdoch, said that the actions were deplorable and unacceptable and that he would fully cooperate with the investigation. And on to number 1, 2012, Kate Middleton's topless photos. Palace once again grew angry over Kate's invasion of privacy after a photographer using a long lens captured photos of Kate topless while sunbathing on vacation in the south of France with Prince William. The photos appeared in a French magazine drawing fury from the palace. Their Royal Highnesses have been hugely saddened to learn that a French publication and a photographer have invaded their privacy in such a grotesque and totally unjustifiable manner. A statement from the palace read at the time, "The incident is reminiscent and the worst excesses of the press and paparazzi during the life of Diana, Princess of Wales, and all the more upsetting to the Duke and Duchess for being so. The Royal Highnesses had every expectation of privacy in the remote house. It is unthinkable that anyone should take such photographs, let alone publish them." The fallout was swift following the publication of the photos, as the editor for the French magazine and the photographer were charged with invasion of privacy and violating France's strict privacy laws. Starting off with number 10, Kate Middleton. As put together as this family wants to seem, there are always moments that are hard to keep away from the public, especially when you have the paparazzi constantly watching your every move. During a vacation with Prince William, Kate was caught off guard on a balcony in France. After pics of her topless during her sunbathing session were sold and published through French magazine Closer, it caused some serious drama. The royals were very upset to find out that the paparazzi was being disrespectful and invading their privacy during their stay at a French lodge. I'd be annoyed too. Can't even be at peace during your own vacation? That sucks. Kate has been trying her hardest to maintain a professional and regal persona, especially while outside when she knows there will be cameras. So it shouldn't be such a wild thing to think she is human and does regular human things while in the peace of her own space around her family. After the pictures were published, the family took the case to court because the photographer and publisher were profiting off pictures taken through invading their privacy. The court ordered defendants to pay damages to Kate and William. On to number 9, Prince Harry caught in Las Vegas naked. Now, we all know how hard it is to not become a chaotic human being while you're in Vegas, and Prince Harry is no different than us when it comes down to it. While in his own hotel room, photographers took some sneaky shots of the prince while he was walking around undressed. I guess the prince forgot to close all the curtains, or simply didn't have the paparazzi on his mind during his own vacation. The royals really do have it rough. They can't even breathe without remembering that one wrong or unregal move can be published within the matter of hours if caught. Harry has a special dislike for paparazzi and has even gotten into a couple of brawls with some photographers because of how fed up he would become from the constant amount of cameras flashing in his face. I get that the royals have a certain reputation they need to worry about, but sometimes expressing emotions can be freeing, and Harry has been one of the few royals who has made a point to do just that. As the younger prince, that just makes sense. He doesn't have as much responsibility as his older brother, so why not become a loose cannon here and there? Down to number 8. Now, this one is most definitely a little unhinged, but Prince Andrew's ex-wife Sarah Ferguson was part of a scandal thanks to the paparazzi that caused their 6-year marriage to end. Another instance of a royal being stalked by photographers during a vacay, Sarah was captured with a financial advisor having some intimate fun at her beach villa in Saint-Tropez while she sunbathed topless. Yikes. As a royal, this is definitely hard to defend. Not only was she cheating in broad daylight, but there were pictures circulating. The royals may be on vacation, but it seems like they will never catch a break from the paparazzi following them around, even while off royal duty. In number 7, thanks to the British press, we found out King Charles has been drinking alcohol since the age of 14, which is definitely underage. In the 1960s, the king was overheard by a journalist asking for a cherry brandy. The alleged story is that his friends dared him to go up to the bar and order a drink, so he ordered the first thing that came to his mind. Unluckily, the journalist sitting near him wanted to make this into a scandalous story, which got King Charles in serious trouble and also cost his bodyguard his job. As careful as the royals are known to be, it's no surprise that sometimes they slip up, just as other human beings do. You may not know this, but this rebellious king has broken royal protocols quite a few times during his time as prince. PDA is normally frowned upon, which King Charles has shown towards both of his wives, respectively, during each marriage. He has had oysters. Yeah, that's against the royal rules too, because seafood is usually avoided due to fears of food poisoning. But hey, if the king wants an oyster, who's gonna stop him, right? Charles was the first Prince of Wales to be granted a divorce with Princess Diana, even though it was never preferred that monarchs get a divorce. Number 6 on our list is Queen Elizabeth suing the Sun for publishing a stolen pic of Sarah, Duchess of York, and Princess Beatrice, which was meant to be used for the 1988 Christmas card. The 2-day early publishing of the Christmas message upset the Queen to the point where she filed a lawsuit for copyright infringement against the Sun, with the settlement costing them over $180,000. Although some believe public messages do not belong to anyone in particular, the Sun did send out a personal apology for the early publishing of the picture with Sarah and Beatrice, which was meant for the message on Christmas Day. This clearly meant a lot for Queen Elizabeth because it is not often we see the Queen go out of her way to call out people. She really takes her Christmas cards very seriously. You gotta respect it. Number 5 on our top 10 countdown, the invasion of privacy continues, causing Meghan and Prince Harry to take tabloids to court over their concerns more than once. As scary as it sounds, publishers have brought out the high tech, using drones and even helicopters in a very desperate and extremely invasive attempt to get pictures of their son Archie through the backyard of the couple's Montecito home. The couple, who stepped back as senior members of the British royal family, have made countless headlines ever since then, which naturally meant a lot of media and press was going to be all up in their business. But they really crossed the line by trying to use helicopters to see what the family is up to while they're just minding their business at home. And although a lot of people eat up any sort of news based around the royals, no matter how mediocre the story is, it should definitely not be normal for publishers to go to these extreme lengths just to capture a picture of these people. In the infamous docuseries Harry and Meghan, Meg talks about how she's been struggling with the paparazzi too. When she had started dating Harry, paparazzi would pay her neighbors to live stream what she was doing in her house by setting up cameras that would point to her backyard. That sounds super scary and overly obsessive, because what could be so entertaining about watching a person that closely all because they're dating a royal? I could never imagine caring that much. And personally, I think some new laws about privacy invasion within the media should be made, because that is too invasive. After the docuseries released, it made a lot of people realize that it may have not been the media attention the couple didn't like, as they insisted, but the lack of control over the kinds of stories being made on them. Funny enough, even after sharing their own narrative on stories, media outlets still found ways to control the narrative in a very different direction. They really can't win. In number 4, we all know how often Harry and Meghan have made the news headlines. Their story just seems to be very interesting for the public. But there also have been accusations that the family plans controversial stories in order to gain this attention. Leading up to the wedding of Meghan and Harry, a scandal involved Meghan's estranged father Thomas Markle for staging a photo shoot. The staged photo scandal, thereafter dubbed Markle debacle, created a massive PR headache for the royals. Markle Sr. claimed the saga caused him 2 heart attacks as well as worldwide embarrassment and ridicule while losing my relationship with my daughter Meghan and son-in-law Prince Harry. This father and daughter have seemed to bring their rocky relationship into the limelight a few times. Thomas even put out a statement that insisted his daughter never reached out to him or made any efforts to rekindle their relationship. This caused Meghan to send a letter to her dad, calling him out for upsetting her with his lies and for not communicating with her properly after she'd heard from a tabloid that he had a heart attack. Somehow, Mail on Sunday got hold of the letter and published it too. This caused a lawsuit to be filed against the publishers for acting dishonestly. This beef between the family feels almost embarrassing because they're airing out each other's business, which is quite the opposite of what the royals have ever wanted from their family members. But one thing about the royals, the English tea is always steaming hot, whether they like it or not. Number 3 on our list of top 10. Yes, our third Meg and Harry story. The couple is clearly not shy at all from filing lawsuits against the press when inaccurate news stories are published about the family. There have been many misleading allegations published about the two, which was a leading cause for them to want to step down from their royal duties. Which, as we all know, made major news and has consistently kept the two in news stories, and it really is up to us to decide what we believe or not. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have claimed that they wanted a private, normal life, hence why they moved out London to LA. During this period of time, we've seen that the two have been doing everything they can to fight the press when they feel like the claims being published are completely inaccurate. After the passing of Harry's mom, Princess Diana, the media was overly obsessed with his every move, which had infamously caused him to even get into some physical fights with some photographers. The few times that it made headlines, it made the young prince seem like a rebel, and even though he may have been, he also just wanted some freedom, which ironically he didn't have as someone who has more power than most people his age. Honestly, Harry, I get it. There are times when you just want to be left alone, and being someone with that status is harder to do and harder to enjoy anything without wondering if it's going to be featured in a news story the next day. In number 2, Buckingham Palace doesn't usually comment on a majority issues. Instead, they only tend to issue denials for the most egregious. So when untrue statements were being made against Harry and Meg, they felt frustrated that the palace didn't put out any statements. The inability to correct what they see as inaccurate accounts in the UK tabloids apparently frustrated Harry and Meghan, the latter perhaps even more so. Which in a way makes sense since Meghan was a free-speaking actor and activist with her own social media account and blog. She has a tendency to stand up for whatever she believes in and has no problem defending herself, which might be why this couple has done exceptionally well in remaining relevant in the press. As many scandals have presented themselves throughout the timeline of this royal family's history, doesn't it make you realize how imperfect this seemingly perfect and regal family really is? The amount of things they do to make a point that they may be above us all and are definitely treated like such makes it interesting and somewhat entertaining to see how much of a mess this family can be. And the lengths they will go to with the press and media to try to control the narrative to maintain their reputation of being perfectly royal. But then again, no one is perfect, and when there are cameras all up in your face all the time, and even sometimes when you aren't even paying attention, it makes it even harder to find a balance of being yourself and being yourself for the cameras. What would you do if you had this sort of lifestyle that is available for constant criticism from the public? I think it would get so exhausting, which is why I totally get when some extremely famous people go out in disguise to feel like they have a normal life. And last but not least, number 1 on our top 10, The Crown. If you've seen this show, you know how juicy it can really get. This show has caused great controversy because of how much is exposed. Stories, family conflicts, affairs, and other scandals that became a public spectacle. But funny enough, some members of the family actually do tune into the show. According to sources, Queen Elizabeth saw all 10 episodes of the first season. She obviously approved of the type of content being publicized since the show just released a new season. If you're currently watching the show, let me know what your favorite season is in the comments.
Starting up this countdown at number 10, luxury cars and private jets. According to AutoBiz, Markle cruises around town in a $122,000 Range Rover Vogue, a $45,000 Lincoln MKC, a $500,000 Mercedes-Benz S-Class, an $80,000 Cadillac Escalade, a $30,000 Toyota Camry, and a $75,000 Lexus LS. She's also been spotted by British media in a Jaguar E-Type and multiple Audis, with Harry in the driver's seat. The couple also uses a $6.5 million Cessna 680 Citation Sovereign plane, private jet, an asset that sparks heavy criticism of the two climate change activists. It's fitted with stunning interiors, leather seats, executive desks, and spacious bathrooms. It's unknown, however, whether they bought the aircraft for themselves or if they just hire on occasion. But regardless, that's still a lot of money. Meanwhile, some celebrities fly commercial because they care about the planet. Number 9, education. Meghan Markle attended Immaculate Heart High School in Los Angeles, which costs over $17,000 per year to attend. Markle had later graduated from the all-girls Catholic school in 1999. Now, this may seem crazy, but the royal family reportedly spends around the same amount on schooling, so maybe that's why she fits in so well. Although nowadays she doesn't really. Prince George, the 9-year-old son of Prince William and Princess Catherine, started attending Thomas's Battersea School in London in September 2017. Tuition and fees totaled over $7,000 per term for students aged 4 to 7, and there are 3 terms per calendar year. The price, however, decreases for each subsequent child enrolled concurrently per family, so Princess Charlotte and Princess Louis' tuition will cost not as much, but will probably still be quite a bit. George and his siblings then began attending Lambrook, an independent preparatory school, in September 2022, and tuition ranges from $5,000 to $9,000 per term depending on the student's year in school. Number 8, holiday decor. Her husband, Prince Harry, isn't content to let staff do all the holiday decorating for his Nottingham cottage home. In December 2016, the royal was spotted buying an approximately $4,000 Nordmann fir Christmas tree from Pines and Needles in South London's Battersea Park with Meghan Markle. The Daily Mirror reported the prince paid for the tree with a credit card. Markle also reportedly happily accepted a bunch of mistletoe with her purchase, while the prince wasn't keen on it. Seemingly in the holiday spirit, staffers told the publication the happy, low-key couple was friendly and largely slipped under the radar. Number 7, clothing. A royal fashion blog found that Markle came out on top with a mind-boggling $500,000 spent on her wardrobe just that year, 5 times more than Kate Middleton, according to textile market intelligence platform Yards and Fibers. However, the report did factor in a pricey jewelry piece, which has been speculated to be a gift from Prince Charles, but remains unconfirmed by the palace. Typically, gifts aren't included. The ranking was also only based on clothing pieces that could be identified, of course. Though Markle is known to flaunt H&M and J.Crew on occasion, she's also been spotted in a $3,500 Oscar de la Renta gown, a $4,700 Armani dress for her Oprah interview, an $18,000 Givenchy dress, and a $75,000 Ralph and Russo gown for her engagement pics with Prince Harry, per Insider. And if you thought that was expensive, there's also the $157,000 Stella McCartney silk crepe dress worn at a wedding reception, and $265,000 Givenchy wedding gown. Number 6, staff. Up until March 31st, 2022, Queen Elizabeth's payroll expenses totaled nearly $24 million, on top of other staff costs of $3.8 million, according to the Sovereign Grant and Sovereign Grant Reserve Financial Summary. Doing one's own grocery shopping, cleaning, and laundry is decidedly unroyal, so Prince William and Kate have a little help. It's unknown who's currently assisting the family, but in May 2017, The Sun reported that housekeeper had recently quit her roughly $46,000 per year job because it was too demanding. And of course, Meghan doesn't need as much staff as the Queen did, so she probably doesn't spend that much, but it's estimated that she does spend around $1 million per year on staff costs. And as just one of Kate's staff members quit because she was too demanding, Meghan's staff also have a lot to say about her. Meghan has been called a narcissistic sociopath who played her former advisors. It was like working for a couple of teenagers, according to the reported words by their highly regarded private secretary who had been recommended by the Queen after years of loyal service. And Meghan's behavior had apparently been difficult and demanding from the start. Number 5, jewelry and watches. At her wedding to Prince Harry, Markle wore a $155,000 Cartier bracelet from the Reflection line, and $68,000 earrings after the ceremony per Hello. Markle also sported Lorraine Schwartz earrings worth $40,000, and an eternity ring costing $62,000, according to The Richest. But her most expensive piece of bling has got to be her $350,000 engagement ring from Cleveland Company, though she's also worn priceless heirlooms once worn by Princess Diana, Queen Elizabeth, and Queen Mary. Markle's $5,800 Cartier Tank franchise seems to be her watch of choice, and she's been sporting it ever since she became a royal. She told Hello in 2015 that she, quote, totally splurged on the two-tone variation after starring in Suits. But what about her gold Cartier Tank? It's rumored that the striking heirloom once belonged to Princess Diana, per Vanity Fair, and may have been passed down to Markle after she met Prince Harry. Number 4, renovations. $3 million was reportedly spent renovating the 10-bedroom manor home, Frogmore Cottage, which I mentioned earlier where they bought their crazy expensive Christmas tree that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry share with their children. The couple moved to Frogmore Cottage in Windsor back in March 2019. The property, which was previously used as royal staff headquarters, required the renovation of, quote, 5 residential units in poor condition, according to the report. Number 3, everyday life. Okay, so what about everyday necessities? According to news.com.au, the couple are estimated to spend up to $1.2 million a month beyond the designer clothes and bling. Other expenses include a $200,000 baby shower, which Serena Williams kindly paid for, $11,000 on acupuncture and numerology during her pregnancy, a $43,000 baby moon, possibly up to $59,000 a year on nannies, and of course holidays, as per Insider. Markle's favorite wine, Tignanello, costs $130 a bottle. And let's not forget about the couple's membership at Santa Barbara Polo and Racquet Club, which costs nearly $10,000 a month per closer. Splurges aside, the couple does commit an admirable amount of time and money donated to noteworthy charities too. In addition, the Sussexes are estimated to spend $4.5 million annually to sustain their lavish lifestyle. They propose that their security would be costing the couple more than $4.5 million annually. This, along with other expenses such as their mortgage, is estimated to add up to over $6 million annually. Number 2, bags. She may keep Harry as permanent arm candy, but the Duchess of Sussex is also known to boast a serious collection of luxury handbags. She's donned a $4,900 Dior Lady D Light, a $985 Gucci Dionysus, many Strathberries including the $770 Mindy Tote, a $920 Bottega Veneta wallet, a $780 Mulberry Darley, and Victoria Beckham powder box bag worth $620 per Hello, and the list goes on and on. Now coming in at number 1, mansions. After the Lovebirds announced their exit from the royal life in 2020, they moved into a $14.7 million Montecito mansion in Santa Barbara, California, swapping British royals for neighbors like Tom Cruise and Ellen DeGeneres. The 18,000 square foot 9-bedroom property features a cinema, office, spa, arcade, library, wine cellar, and everything you can imagine for a Hollywood home, according to 8 Days. They lived there with their children Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana. Before the big move, they called Britain's Frogmore Cottage home. The historical countryside abode has been a royal residence since 1792, and the Duke and Duchess dropped around $3 million on taxpayers' money for renovations before they stepped down from the royal duties per Hello.
Starting off with number 10, it didn't come as a surprise to find out that the once beloved Prince Harry's sudden exit from royal life cost him millions. This life-altering decision that was made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex left many shocked and them with a substantially smaller amount of money in the bank account. Meghan really got him to drop it all for her. That's some real power. After being cut off financially in 2020, he's admitted to relying on his late mother, Princess Diana's inheritance, even revealing that if it wasn't for the inheritance, they would have not been able to afford their royal exit. Shout out Princess Di. Along with losing millions of money, it might be safe to say that Prince Harry lost much more because of this decision that many supporters of the royals, including the family, did not agree with. He may have inherited additional funds from his great-grandmother who passed away in 2002. The BBC reported at the time that Prince William and Harry were left north of $16 million to divide. Harry would receive a larger portion as he would not gain the financial benefits of being king one day. Okay, so I'm seeing Harry is still getting that bag without the royal responsibilities. Maybe he is onto something. In number 9, we can't speak of Harry without mentioning his wife and former actress Meghan Markle. After their short period of time as working royals, Meghan was not feeling it at all and thought it would be healthier for the couple to opt out of their royal duties and start a life in LA. They really dropped the bag, now they have to support themselves. Meg, I thought you cared about your status. Do they still think it was a good idea? We may never know for sure, but considering all the brand deals they've signed with to stay afloat, to them, this may be the path of least resistance. The couple has been criticized for recently entering into multi-million-dollar deals with the streaming giants Spotify and Netflix. I mean, hey, they gotta make money some way, even if that meant exposing the royal drama to get that bag. During the bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, the couple was asked about whether or not they are just money-grabbing royals, to which Harry assured was never the intention. Another lie? Or is this a sincere statement? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because their words are really not matching with their actions. Markle suggested that their charity Archwell was a remedy to the misinformation about them, explaining that the work would prioritize storytelling through a truthful lens. Okay, let's see if Miss Meghan is being honest now. Down to number 8, before getting cut off financially, King Charles was helping Harry and Meghan to make their transition easier. Once that was done in the spring of 2020, only months after the couple had announced their decision to step down, Harry and Meghan made the claim that they were cut off financially. Wow, now that is cold. Being upset that you are no longer reaping the benefits of a royal as someone who voluntarily did not want to be one anymore feels very much like a first world problem. Am I right? Did they really expect to continue earning a royal allowance without taking up the duties? Harry and Meg, I think you should feel lucky you have enough without the royals to spoon feed you millions of dollars, but that's just me. On top of that, the couple has managed to lose millions of supporters because of their controversial Netflix miniseries, which they really believed needed to be a 6-part story. I too wonder what they thought their love story was important enough for us to consider sitting through 6 separate episodes of it. But anyway, Romeo and Juliet would never. In number 7, the once known as a prince, Andrew. After some major controversies, Andrew was stripped of royal titles, military associations, and royal patronages. Oh, and not to mention the millions that he will no longer be continuing with his royal duties. Big shocker. All Prince Andrew's roles have been returned to the Queen with immediate effect and will be redistributed to other members of the royal family. The door is being closed on return to public life. Sucks to suck, Andrew. Although he does seem to be keeping his constitutional role as Chancellor of State, one of 4 royals who can undertake the Queen's official duties should she be unwell. Although he does seem to be keeping his constitutional role as Chancellor of State. The Duke had a 22-year career in the Royal Navy and served as a helicopter pilot during the Falkland Wars. The latest palace announcement means he has lost military titles, including Colonel of the Grenadier Guards. Seems like a lot of these L's cost him more than just millions. Moving on to number 6, after the ill-prepared Caribbean tour Will and Kate took, many were quick to call them out for the outrageous amount of money that was spent for this trip, making it their most expensive trip of the year. Look at these ballers. Just a reminder, a lot of these trips these royals take are funded by the taxpayers, so this news definitely hit a nerve when it was revealed how much was spent. Honestly, I'd be annoyed too if my money was going towards a trip I wasn't even invited to. The figure includes the cost of William and Kate's journey on the RAF Voyager, an Airbus 330 used by the royals and government VIP, and a separate staff planning trip that took place before the tour began. Overall, the royals received £86 million from the Sovereign Grant. Of that, $4.5 million went to travel, including the Caribbean tour and the November trip King Charles made to Barbados when the country became a republic, which cost £138,000. The cost also included 179 helicopter flights by members of the royal family and 24 additional charter flights. They really know how to spend money when it's not theirs. In number 5, King Charles III is now entitled to riches part of the Crown Estate, the largest of the investment entities linked to the UK monarchy, as well as from a private estate, the Duchy of Lancaster. Eldest son William has inherited the Duchy of Cornwall after succeeding his father as Prince of Wales and next in line to the throne. The Crown Estate and Royal Duchies oversee total assets of about $21 billion, with their values rising about 70% on average over the past decade, which reflects rising land and property prices. Wow, now we're getting into the billions. Seems like he could share it with the rest of us. Come on, King Charles. Profits from the Duchy of Lancaster, which owns 45,000 acres of land across England and Wales, provide income for the UK's sovereign and have helped to fund the activities of other British royals. One of the largest sources of the Windsors' wealth, as well as one of the most difficult to assess, is the family's property holdings. The family owns a large portfolio of real estate, including well-known properties such as the 830,000 square foot Buckingham Palace, Sandringham Country Estate, Balmoral Castle, the Duchy of Cornwall, and Windsor Castle. And the list goes on and on. Must be nice. On to number 4. The thing this family spends money on, a lot of us can only dream of being able to drop millions of dollars to travel, renovate, and do other royal British things. The release of an annual report, the Sovereign Grant, details spending for the year. This also revealed the renovations to Meghan and Prince Harry's new home, Frogmore Cottage, which cost over $3 million. You guys like to spend a lot of money too, huh? When they decided on stepping down, they offered to pay back the expenses from the renovations. Wow, how nice of you guys. Members of the family also have massive amounts of private wealth, the spending of which they do not have to report. But that doesn't stop us from being curious about the other ways they spend their lavish wealth. According to the report, Queen Elizabeth and the royal family received $104 million from British taxpayers. They spent $42 million on renovations to royal palaces and properties. Along with the upgrades to the Sussex's home, a number of other home design projects took up a big chunk of the budget, including Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and Windsor Castle. No wonder they're going broke. Other things the royals spend their wealth on is their large staff and crew who work for the royals. And just in case you didn't know, a lot of people work for the palace. Payroll costs totaled around $29.4 million, and that includes multiple levels of staff, including private secretaries for senior royals and public relations teams. As much as the royals try their hardest to pretend like they're relatable and just like us, they really aren't. Spending this much money on the people who work for you is literally the complete opposite of relatable. On to number 3, traveling like royalty comes with a king-sized price tag. The royal family serves as ambassadors for the UK across the country, Commonwealth, and the world, which is why they're out and about a lot. The 2022 annual report from the Sovereign Grant and Sovereign Grant Reserve revealed that the royal family spent more than $5 million on travel in the past year. Some of those trips were vacations, other official government trips, and a good few seem to be a bit of both. But damn, spend a lot of money. According to the Sovereign Grant, members of the family undertook more than 3,200 engagements during the year, with the Queen doing 140, and the total travel costs were around $5.8 million. Can you imagine spending that much on traveling? Millions of dollars to travel is a crazy thing to think about for us regular folk, but for the royals, it's just another day. Obviously, the overseas tours cost significantly more than day trips in Britain. For example, Prince Charles and Duchess Camilla's trip to the Caribbean and Cuba cost around $530,000. The Fiji and Tonga portion of the Sussex's Down Under tour cost over $100K, and Prince William's trip to visit Jordan, Israel, and Palestine was around $90,000. The most expensive trip so far was taken by King Charles and Camilla in 2017 to Italy, Romania, and Austria. During the 9-day tour, the couple took several very expensive charter flights between Bucharest, Pisa, Naples, Rome, and Vienna, and all that came to a cost of $203,000. Charles and Camilla are the biggest spenders. The couple spent more than any other royal family member on travel in 2018. It was then that they racked up a bill of about $530,000 for their massive tour through the Caribbean. Damn, y'all gotta chill out a little. However, it seems as though they really got their money's worth on that one, as the couple took part in more than 50 engagements on 10 different islands during their stay. It was also the first royal visit to Cuba. Why does it cost this much to travel? Well, the royals have to take into consideration the amount of staff that is coming with them, who have their own separate expenses, the tremendous expense of operating around-the-clock RCMP security detail, and you can't forget the officers driving armored Escalades following the royal family everywhere to ensure some crazy lunatic doesn't try to make a name for himself by taking them out. Number 2 on our top 10, the family increasing their carbon footprint. Since the royals are partially funded by the taxpayer, the Prince of Wales is obligated to publish annual reports covering business costs, carbon emissions, home energy consumption, and travel schedules. To work out the carbon footprints of the royals, let's dive into the impact it has on their travels. With an increase of 93% in carbon emissions is due to more overseas tours. On the flip side, there was a 24% reduction in energy use for heating and lighting, and a 2% reduction in waste generation, which should make environmentalist King Charles happy. Out of everyone in the immediate royal family, King Charles has the biggest carbon footprint. The king really is out here living large. On the flip side, the smallest carbon footprint was made by Queen Liz. When the queen was strictly forbidden from traveling on public transit, she would regularly use her own private train. Yeah, you heard that right. The family has its own private train. The regal interior of the Royal British train is breathtaking enough, but what makes this more impressive is that it's a diesel-electric hybrid. A major and controversial source of wealth for the royal family is the crown jewels. These include a multitude of rare and expensive jewels and crowns. Among the most famous of the jewels is the Koh-i-Noor diamond, a 105-carat diamond which you can consider as a gift to Queen Victoria or stolen by the British in the mid-19th century. We can get into that another day. Anyway, determining the value of a jewel like the Koh-i-Noor is also difficult. By comparison, in 2015, a flawless 100-carat diamond sold at auction for $22 million. However, it is likely that the Koh-i-Noor would sell for a substantial amount more. This is because of the value of the diamond based on its association with the royals and the value that other governments have placed on it. The Indian government is one such entity that has sought the return of the diamond over the years. The royal collection includes over 1 million art objects held in trust by the monarch. The king or queen do not own these artworks. Among the pieces in the collection are countless items of decorative art. Due to the size and enormous historical value of the collection, it's difficult to place a monetary value on it. That's all for today's top 10. Let me know what you think the most outrageous thing you think the royals have spent their millions on is. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.